years ago, when I graduated from college, I was going into the Army Nurse Corps. And at that time, the state board exam was 2 full days. So many of you probably remember that. It was 2 full days. And I remember thinking that I just want to get this done and never have to see this exam again. And since I was going into the Army, we said to our professors, so like I'm in Maryland, but I really live in Pennsylvania. Will I have to take the boards again? And they said, no, you'll be able to get reciprocity. So when I was taking the boards, I never liked maternity, and I never liked psych, and I never liked peds. I was pretty much a med-surg person right from the get-go. So as I was studying for those boards, I remember thinking, this is the last time I ever have to know the 3 phases of labor, what placenta previa is, what childhood appropriate activities, all these things that I didn't like. I thought, this is the last time. So I took the test and I passed. I went in the Army, and then later, about 5 years later, I got my first teaching job in New York State. So I applied for reciprocity to New York, and I was rejected. And the reason I was rejected was because the day that I took my boards in Baltimore, they had a cheating scandal in New York City. So if you took them the same day, you had to retake. So there I was, 6 years now after graduating, master's in med-surg, going for my first teaching job, and I'm back there going over the 3 phases of labor again, childhood appropriate tasks, and I thought, oh no, this is just terrible. I felt so stressed. It was truly the lowest point in my career that I had to take those tests again. And then I thought, what if I fail? I mean, I'm the new faculty member coming in, and what if, I don't pass? What would happen there? So, again, I had this, no sense studying the med-surg part. I mean, I had my master's there, but I had to study the other 3. And as I walked out of that exam, I thought to myself, that was interesting, that med-surg part, a lot of that I only know from experience. I didn't learn that in school. And they were things in particular about diagnostic and lab testing. They were asking questions about preparing a patient for an IVP, or what you do after a barium enema, something about a blood sugar. And I thought, I know all that from my experience. I don't know that from an undergraduate. Then I thought, maybe this is my book idea. Because I looked when I started teaching, and I thought, where do we teach this? We didn't teach it anywhere. And so I thought, okay, this is the idea. And I actually even thought of a book I was going to format it after. And then when we had a book fair at our college, somebody told me that Mosby was a very good publisher. So when no one was around the table, I walked up and I quietly said, I have an idea for a book. And then the guy said to me, can you write that down in like 2 or 3 sentences? Give me your contact information. And he said, and by the way, have you ever published anything? And I said, yes, I have 2 published articles. So, and I was so proud to be able to say that. The next day I get a call from the nursing editor at Mosby saying that was just what they were looking for. They were looking for somebody to do a book like that. And so I put together a proposal and I got my contract. But the point is, I was a failure, in my opinion, as far as having to retake those boards. That was the lowest point of my career, and I was very down. But out of that negative experience came something very positive. So I'm sure if you think in your career right now, something that you thought was a major failure, maybe something good came out of that. I know an occupational health nurse who told me, she was a former student of mine, that when she graduated, she was working in an emergency room. And then she wanted to start on her master's. Well, her manager in the emergency room was not at all accommodating, in fact, worked against her when she needed to be scheduled off for class. So she finally had to quit her job in the ER and start working for a home health agency. And through home health, they exposed her to occupational health. So if it hadn't been for that negative experience in the emergency room, she wouldn't have had the opportunity to be exposed to occupational health. And she's extremely successful as an occupational health nurse. So you can always think of what was a failure that you had and where did it lead. So I think I say that so you can feel confident if there's a problem, maybe something good's going to come out of that.